I can relate my own reading advocacy journey. I heard most of you talk about, do children learn to read? How do we get them to learn to read? And how do we get young people to continue to be readers? The probability is much higher there's a born fast bowler or a born Olympic swimmer in this room than a born reader. But no one is born a reader. And what we have done is we have created complex, hyper-complex societies where reading is an essential ability. Reading is just as essential as walking and breathing and the other things that we are genetically programmed. Most of the things that are essential for survival are things that we are genetically programmed to do. We will learn them one way or another. There is no genetic programming whatsoever for reading. No one is a born reader. If you don't learn it, you will not be able to read. And we have created societies where it is essential. The big problem with, and a while ago it was television, but today I would say it's the smartphone. What's the true enemy? Not the smartphone. If we used gadgets for reading, that wouldn't be a problem. It's more or less the same reading. The problem is there's a medium on the smartphone that is the big killer, and that is video. And while none of us was a born reader, we were all born video watchers. Our brain is divided into brainstem and then a cerebral cortex. The brainstem is small, cerebral cortex is big. We can watch video with our brainstems, which means that's very easy, it's very comfortable, and it makes us feel like we did millions of years ago. And it makes us react like that. Original creatures millions of years ago were programmed to only react to things in direct vicinity. Only something that you could grab and eat, or something that was close enough so it might eat you and you better run away. That is what you were reacted to, and that's how you watch video. And there's a feel-good factor about it. It will drive out reading. Why video is so dangerous. It will drive out reading, and we will lose a capability that is essential for survival in a complex society. Having heard this horror vision, I then went ahead and decided we have to do something about it. Thankfully, we have an organization in Germany, the Foundation for Reading, that does this. And I approached them and I said, is there something that we could do? And fortunately, there was. They had a program that had been tested in the United States, and that was to approach 4 or 5-year-old children and their parents by a children's doctor and have the children's doctor give them a little playbook as a present. The present goes to the child, and the parents are told by the children's doctor that they need to be guided to read. And so they get this little book that the children can play with. Very important that children's books are indestructible, because they want to grab them, they will bite into them too. If you have to take, like, you give a child this little first playbook, the child's going to bite it. If you take the book away from the child because the book could be destroyed, then you've already destroyed the effect. So indestructibility is very important. So they said in the United States, the result was, this is very powerful, and if only one could guarantee that all children are seen by doctors, and the doctors can do that, then this would be extremely powerful supporting reading habits. Now, fortunately in Germany, we have a system where indeed all children are seen by children's doctors. When we had children, my wife and I, it was like 6 times. I think it's now 10 times. There are 10 mandatory visits to the doctor, and we decided that it was visit 8 or visit 9. So they said, okay, we have this in place in Germany. All we need is these introductory sets for the doctors, the books to give the children, and the first books for reading to the children for the parents. And they couldn't find the money. And I found that the sum necessary was €1 million at the time. And I said, we are going to do this. And we did within a year. I went around Germany to printers up and down the country. And we collected €1 million that we handed to the president of Germany a year later. And the program was started. and we had calculated it as such. The million that we presented was good for 3 years, and after it had run for 3 years, the government was shamed into continuing the financing. It has worked ever since 2008, and it's touching 1 million children every year. So since then, it's touched about 16 million children, and it doesn't work.
I would just like to mention another initiative here. We all are aware about it. This is just to remind you. Bindwel still runs with the leadership of Sajid that gift a book to a child. Already Bindwel gifted more than 100,000 books to children. And please join your hands to that initiative so that we can keep on distributing books to the children.